I was involved in trying to find out as much as possible about UFOs. So I'm talking about Peru, developing country. 1979, there were just few magazines or information, literature about UFOs, even translated into Spanish. Everything was in English, but difficult to find really in a Spanish-speaking country. So I tried my best to find out, wow, I can find more about UFOs. So every day or every night, I went to bed around 1, 2 o'clock in the morning because I was looking at the sky. My mom had to wake up, open the door of my bedroom and said, go to sleep, because I was always looking at the sky, trying to find answers. So one night, I went to sleep, and just like any regular night, I remember I was wearing my pajamas, went to sleep, then I opened my eyes, and I saw my bedroom glowing, illuminated. And the door opened by itself. Once the door opened, I sat down on my bed, not on the side, I sat down on my bed and looked the door opening, and I saw this woman, 5'6", 5'7", slender, wearing like a metallic uniform with a white belt. I will say Nordic-like, Eastern European, cheekbones, a little bit almond eyes, very green, pristine green, blondish, and she started to walk close to my bed, and I was like amazed because she was like an icon, someone with overwhelming personality to me, someone that knew me like I was an open book. So once I realized that, I was like aghast. So waiting for her to talk or to do something. She approached to my bed, very close to me, and then with a tender smile, she said, and I heard that on my mind. She touched her like this. What you need to do, Renato, is to use your mind. For the second time, she did it again. What you need to use, Renato, is your mind. So I repeat, I need to use my mind. For the third time, she get a little bit closer, one step, and she smiled, and I felt this vibration of love completely embracing me. What you need to do is to use your mind. So I repeat, what I need to do is to use my mind. Then I close my eyes, open my eyes, 6 o'clock in the morning. That happened. So since that day, I was just desperate, really desperate to find out information about how to use my mind. So how I can use my mind, I didn't know that. So I tried to find all kind of philosophies. Guru Maharishi Yogi was, like a rock star in that time, in 1970, the Hare Krishna, and all these groups. I visited all of them, but I didn't feel connected to any of them. Once I almost gave up, opened newspaper on the weekend, and there was this sign that said, Silva Mind Control. Mind, how to use my mind, Silva Mind Control. I like that. So I went to a local hotel. There was this introductory lecture, and I subscribed to it. I registered. Since I was a minor, I have to pay 50% less, so I was happy. You have to spend too much money. And then I followed the intensive course, and I became the #1 student. And then I have this opportunity to meet then Jose Silva himself. He came to Peru. So I was able to meet him. And also I have this amazing extrasensual perception experience, the remote viewings. They give you these envelopes, closed envelope with postcards and photographs, and you have to read them just touching in your front or just using your finger and trying to find out the information. So I was doing all this exercise 3 times a day because I didn't have too much responsibilities in that time, so I have free time to do it, and I was doing it in a very disciplined way. What happened later in my life, and I'm going to make the story short, is that in 1985, I have an extraordinary encounter with an extraterrestrial. But before that, I was practically bombarded with these images of the Andes. Peru is an Andean country. Everybody knows about Cusco, Machu Picchu. But I was born and raised in Lima, Peru, and that's the coast. So the coast is very arid, desertical, few valleys here and there. But if you go to the east, because the west is the Pacific Ocean, you go to the east, you're going straight to the Andes. So 1 hour and a half from Lima City, you are in the eastern side of Lima. the end range start. I'm not talking about mountains of the 14,000 feet above sea level. Okay, so what happened is I'm always having these visions of in my mind, or like a photograph, like slide in my mind of a mountain, a river, some bushes, trees, rocks, always constantly bombarding me. So I knew something was coming to me, but I wanted to avoid it because it meant more responsibility. I have this feeling. I didn't know how to explain it because these experiences are beyond words, are supra-verbal, beyond words. So what happened is that when I tried to avoid it, I went to the kiosk to buy a newspaper in the morning. I opened the newspaper, said, "Vacations in the Andes of Lima." Georgia. Okay, well, so I went on the street, someone stopped me and said, "Do you have the time? Just tell me what time it is." I said, "This time." "Hey, I just came from the Andes. It's a beautiful place there, this and that." I said, "What? Are you crazy?" Just keep walking, So keep walking. And I was to think, what's going on? This is too much coincidences. Or I turn on the radio, and then the radio says, "We're going to interview these people who have this amazing experience. They went to this area in the Andes and stuff like that." So it lasts for 3 months. Until one day I decided to say to myself, if you are sending me these messages, I want a confirmation. Because the experience goes with confirmation. We're talking about sophisticated civilizations, highly intelligent, that they know because they have studied us. They're like cosmic anthropologists. And contactees or experiencers are a sociological experiment, to put in these words, to see how are they going to do in their society, in their culture. Because a contactee from Japan is not the same like a contactee from America. A contactee from Cuba or from Africa is not the same. A Latin contactee is not the same. It's something always that we have in our background, which is the filter that we see things, which is our culture. So they want to see how different kind of experiences can grow or cannot grow in different situations, like a seed you plant on different gardens. The same thing with the extraterrestrials. Somehow, some way, we are part of a big experiment, quote. Sometimes we agree on this experiment, but we have the choice to say, I don't want to continue, because there are consequences after you have these kind of experiences. So the day I decided to go was March 15, 1985, to a place called Coca Chacra, which is like 110 kilometers east of Lima. And it was a picnic area where you can go, a recreational park. But in the middle of the week, nobody visited because it's always on the weekend. Besides that, when in Lima is winter, in the Andes, just 1 or 2 hours from Lima, it's summertime. And when it's summer in Lima, it's winter time in the Andes. It's like that. The same thing. When it's summer in Lima, in Cusco is winter time. In the same time. Okay? So I decided to go 15th of March, 1985. I went to this place, I identified the mountain, the river, the trees, the bushes, and everything. So I stayed like for 20 minutes. It was 11 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock. And I said to myself, well, I stay enough time, nobody's here, so I had to leave. The moment I decided to leave, I saw in a distance in front of me, like from here to the door, I will say. I cannot say approximately exactly how many feet away, but from here to the door, I saw this glowing arc of energy, a shivering light, pulsing, and it became stronger and stronger, and a compact light formed during the day and daylight. The wind stopped blowing. The birds stopped singing. The leaves, the branches, everything stopped for a moment. I felt like I was inside a bubble. In that moment, a human-like being popped out of the light, and I was in shock. I almost faint, and it's not funny. There are two romantic visions, in my opinion, in my account, when you have this kind of experience. But it could be terrifying, because your senses are telling you that being is not human. And all your fears come to your mind. They're gonna, kidnap you. They're gonna, dissect you like a guinea pig. They're gonna do something. They're pure peace and love. All these things come into my mind. So this being was like 6'2", 6'3", kind of athletic, broad shoulders. His arms were very long, almost to its knees. Was not touching the ground. A metallic uniform, grayish, delicate hair, and approach like 4 or 6 steps. And I start to tremble, start to shake. And he raised his arm like this. Said, I will not hurt you. Relax. For some reason, that energy that emanated from him, that fullness, totality that was around him, really impregnate my energy or my aura. I don't know what to say. So I calmed down, and I heard in my mind, don't worry, I came here to give you a message. This is your name. And he gave me a name. We all have a name, like a personal mantra. It's like a personal digital print, a vibration. That is my name. He said, this is like a mantra for you, your personal mantra. When you have a certain level of knowledge of your consciousness or your level of awareness, people receive these mantras. In this opportunity, in this moment, we, even though he was just one person that I saw, he said we. He always talked about in plural. We are here to contact you in order to give you this information, this mantra for you. We're going to be in touch. We have been observing you since the day you were born. And we want you to continue what you're doing. And ask myself, what I've been doing? For them, doing meditation, I was vegetarian for 2 years, not smoking, not drinking alcohol, was something very important for them. For me, it was like a discipline I was doing because it was fun. But I didn't understand the meaning of it. I didn't understand the depth of it. And this being told me, you have to continue what you're doing. We're going to be in touch with you, and you have to practice with this new name that you have in a certain way on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays. You have to do it mentally. Then you have to chant until you find the perfect pronunciation of the word, and you're going to feel an energy coming to the solar plexus. And that's what I did. I started to practice a month later because I had to digest this experience. Because when this being finished his message, which I think only lasts like 10 minutes, he again raised his hand and said, we're going to be in contact with you. He gave me his name. He told me where he was coming from. He just walked backwards without looking, but practically swallowed by this light, enter into this light, start to shimmer again, and it disappeared. In a few seconds, I felt again the wind blowing, the birds chirping, the water on the river against the rocks, and I look at the mountain. Behind the mountain, I saw a disc, a metallic disc, make a 45 angle degree, and it disappeared. The problem came later, because I had to take the bus in the main highway, and I had to go back home. And that is when the reality knocks the door, because that's the so-called day after effect. Because the next day, I have to go to college, I had to continue being a brother, a son, I had to pay my bills, I had to do everything like anybody else. At the same time, trying to digest and deal with this extraordinary experience in my mind. That is a problem. Because if you're a doctor, you're an officer, you're a judge, you're someone else, you even can have problems with your relationships. With your wife, with your loved one, with your father, because are you crazy? How come you're going to tell me that you have a contact with an alien? It can be. If your family is very religious, they're going to say, what child? That could be the devil. They put a spell on you. Or you're having hallucinations. Or you're smoking pot. So people think many things. But when people, with or without encounter with an extraterrestrial, have an extraordinary experience, depending how he can handle the day after effect, it can grow or it can stop and it can die. So those are the things that happen. The other thing is the experience can overwhelm you in such a way that instead to give me just a brief message of 10 minutes, I can tell you another story. I can tell you that the ET told me, Renato, you are the chosen one because you are special. You're the messenger of this galactic confederation, this and that. So I expand that because I have a emptiness on my ego and I need recognition. Or I can tell it like it is, like what happened, extraordinary, and I had to add anything. Or I can just remain silent because I'm going to be having conflicts on my workplace, with my relationship, with my family. I can lose my job, whatever. So those things, they cannot help it. They cannot help it because it's part of our reality. They cannot understand that. They will not understand that. That's the part that we have to deal with. So the day after effect are these consequences when you have an extraordinary experience with or without extraterrestrials. Near-death experience, awakening, samadhi, nirvana, whatever you want to say, is yours.